Hello everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About Fixed Star June 2023. And one week, well, what's wrong with me? every end of a month, me and the Christian will meet here to talk about the fixed stars. And then today, Christian, what are we going to talk about?
Hi everyone. Today we talk about Alpheratz and Pegasus. No, it's in Andromeda, but that's an issue we are talking about. Pegasus, Andromeda, we will see.
Okay, that's a very interesting. Yes, I have some opinion about it too, and I don't think everyone like it. But I think it's just my maybe it's just my crazy thought. But we will see. Yes, today we're going to talk about Alpheratz, and is a star. Usually, will kind of when if you know a little bit astronomy and the mythology, you will kind of which constellation it belong to, and I think we are not the only two confused. I think for people who study the fixed star or do the stargazing, I always say, is that belong to Pegasus or is that belong to Andromeda? And I'm really looking forward to see your interpretation today. Okay, so well, should I start?
Yes, of course, please.
Okay, yeah. All right. So here we are. Today we're going to talk about Alpheratz, and then it's in I think the IAU, right? Defined it is in the constellation of Andromeda, and it represents the princess head or hair. Okay, and it is alpha star, so is that most bright? I don't think so, right? You will talk about it. I think later
Yes,
you will talk
yes.
about it. Yeah, it's alpha Andromeda, and its magnitude is plus 2.06. Well, plus 2.06 is bright, but not that bright, but not super bright, but it's bright enough. Okay, we can still see it in the city after if everyone dim the light. Okay, and its celestial latitude today, this year, is 14 degree 38, 14 degree Aries 38. And then in year 2000 is 14 degree 18 Aries. And then back to 1980s is 14 degree 01 in Aries. And then back to 1960 is 13 degree 45. We know the star. If you want to pull them down to the ecliptic, it's a little bit difficult, and then they move very slowly. I have to try to force myself to say, usually, when I started in the parameter, I really enjoyed because I don't need to memorize their degree. But somehow, most astrologers like use them in the chart and then say, we have this star conjunct with that one planet. So sometimes it's become one of my job trying to understand their effect if we're going to use this method. Then I'm going to show you where about this constellation and these stars. As Christian just talking about Pegasus or Andromeda, well, they are next to each other. So in one way, it's very interesting. One thing we have to say is the the Pegasus from the North Hemisphere, when we look at, is always upside down. That means the horse tummy and the horse leg is up toward to north. And then if you look in this way, then the Andromeda sometimes can consider like the horse leg, horse back leg. I think if you do that, this constellation will become too big. Will become a huge constellation. That's why they cut it off and then they put it into Andromeda. So in this case, Andromeda galaxy is here, and then the star we're going to talk about here is the Andromeda's head, and then well, I think definitely Christian going to talk about this Pegasus square. If you ever heard about it, it's a very easy to identify position in the sky. I think in the late summer and I think around midnight, you can start to see them from east part of sky. And then sometime in the kind of September, yeah, you can start to see the Pegasus and Andromeda constellation. So
you have this saying of summer triangle and so on. In the German-speaking countries, we talk about the autumn square.
autumn square.
I think you don't have this in the English-speaking astrological or astronomical communities, but in the German-speaking countries, talk about the autumn square.
Interestingly, I think maybe there is, because I do hear in Chinese Mandarin Astronomy Society, the community, they talk about autumn square. They talk about autumn square. Yeah, yeah. But I think also there is a culture of this autumn square in Chinese culture too. Yeah. So yeah, here is the whole Andromeda galaxy. I think later Christian will have a more beautiful photo, but here is Alpheratz, is Princess Head, and then I think we talked about Mirac last time, right? Is her wrist, and then well, there's another star in her feet is Almaz, and the one thing I like most, I will tell you where is Andromeda galaxy. If you find the Mirac and going up, then because you usually will kind of find a thing coming out like that, and then followed by the Mirac, and then you follow it, you will see the Andromeda galaxy. It's a beautiful, beautiful galaxy. Okay, back to astrology. Let's see what most people use the reference from the Vivian Robson and Elizabeth Everything. Let's see how they're going to interpret these stars. Well, Vivian Robson say first, according to Ptolemy, is the nature of Jupiter and the Venus. How good it is, because I think in the traditional astrology, Jupiter and the Venus are both benefic. So, they are kind of a nice. So you're probably not going to expecting anything terrible. Yeah, it gives independence, freedom, love, richness, honor, and kind of intellect. Okay, I really wish I have this star conjunct. Oh, someone say he has. You know what? I envy you. That's the most, huh?
My ascendant.
Your ascendant.
Yeah.
I envy you.
This time I believe Mr. Robson.
Yeah, this time, only this time, Rob. So, independent, freedom. Let me read it, make you happy. Independent, freedom, love, richness, honor, and intellect. Let's see what Vivian Robson, not Vivian Robson, let's see what Elizabeth Everything talking about. I think basically I can shorten in one word: popular. I think what is she talking about is the harmonious nature and the make popularity. Yes, and I think if you base it on the kind of Venus and Jupiter nature, the popularity is one thing, I think, and we can also see it from Christians. It's conjunct. Is that conjunct?
It's conjunct.
Yeah, it's a conjunct. So it's conjunct your ascendant. You know how popular Christian is.
That's
But I prefer now today. I prefer my favorite astrologer. No, just for teasing Christian, because he has this star with his ascendant. Well,
every light has its shadow side.
Exactly. Well, Marcus Manlius is one of my favorite author, and then when he interprets the constellation and the star, he always just go back to Greek mythology, and I think that's the most simple way to start with, to be honest. But of course, when we're doing this program, we're trying to explore different culture, not only the Greek Roman mythology, but it is a very good point to start with, especially most astrologer we know the Greek mythology. So here is interesting interpretation. When I'm not going to read it because I read it last time, it's so difficult for me. But when we talk about Mirac, I hope some of you still remember. When we talk about Mirac, I talk about this. Basically, Marcus Manilius, think about the influence of Andromeda are not like you think, are not like Vivian Robson or Elizabeth Aberdeen talking about it. Because what he's talking about is this is the Punisher, the keeper of a prison or hell. He was sent ardently by while the mother is miserable, prisoner lie, posterate. Okay, it means he will be just like a very cruel, heartless, and standing there watching people suffering and be punished. Christian, do you relate this into your life? Mm. Okay, probably not. Okay, the governor of a prison. So, once you are not astrologer anymore, you can apply another job. That would be fun. Okay, this is the Marcus Manilius. So I will head to Christian. We will hear about your part of the mythology.
Yes, let's share the screen and start the slides. Yeah, as Rod already said, Alpheratz is the brightest star in the constellation Andromeda. Whenever Mirage periodically dims, and Alpheratz connects Andromeda with Pegasus. And Ptolemy assigned Alpheratz to Pegasus and Johann Bayer to Pegasus and Andromeda. So he puts it in both constellations. So Alpheratz is therefore one of two stars that bore two Bayer names. It's first Alpha Andromedae and it's Delta Pegasi. And the other star is Nath in Taurus, which connects the constellation Taurus with Auriga and was also named Gamma Aurigae. So this is the second star that has two Bayer names. And with the definition of the constellation boundaries by the EAU in 1930, Alpheratz was assigned to Andromeda. Although it is the upper left star of the great square of Pegasus. So I think mythologically and astrologically, Alpheratz seems to belong to Pegasus, but that's just my humble opinion. The horse is closely linked to human history. For thousands of years, the horse served as the fastest means of locomotion and enabled man to expand his boundaries. In Arabia, mares were so-called daughters of the wind, and it was believed that they were fertilized by the wind. And this speed is still embodied today by the fastest vehicles in the world, such as cars, of course, and trains and aeroplanes. The Germanic tribes kept white horses in sacred groves, which were confidants of the gods. The orders of the horses counted more than those of the priests and even of kings. And even in Christian times, churches and monasteries were built in places that horses recognized as sacred by the poem. The Greeks in particular attributed immortality to some horses, and of course, one of the most famous ones is Pegasus. The horse combines many polar aspects, so it symbolizes the divine nature, the spirit, on the other hand, wildness and controlled energy, freedom, the divine and also the devilish. And depending on the predominance of matriarchal or patriarchal structures, lunar or solar aspects come to the fore. In patriarchal Greece, horses were sacred to the moon goddess Selene, who was pulled across the sky in her chariot by horses. And later, horses pulled the sun across the sky or were harnessed in front of the chariot of the sun god. So here the winged horse represents awareness, thoughts, intellect, and also light. The horse is therefore a symbol of vital, powerful, wild, but also elegant, tameable, and refinable life energy. So it makes it possible to expand one's own life and to grow beyond oneself. Alpheratz is on the one hand the navel of Pegasus, and on the other hand the head of Princess Andromeda. And because of this connection, Alpheratz seems to symbolize the transformation of a stuck, fixed state, you know, the bound Andromeda, to speed and freedom. That's, of course, the Pegasus part. So astrologically, Alpheratz is, according to Bernadette Brady, speed, autonomy, joy of movement, and independence. Alpheratz allows quick and decisive decisions and enables an independent attitude towards life. People with Alpheratz parents are action-oriented and can lead others if they can keep up with the speed of ideas. The speed of thought and movement shapes the worldview and drives it forward. The pursuit of freedom determines life, and any restriction of freedom is fought against. That's a really important keyword for Alpheratz, freedom. True freedom is inner freedom that does not depend on external circumstances. So true freedom means that one is free from the past and free from the future, as Osho said. Alpheratz gives a mindset of carefreeness to every planet. So Alpheratz wants to reach deeper and deeper levels of self-expression, of freedom. So in a nutshell, the pure joy of feeling the wind in your hair. That's my approach to Alpheratz. And
Thank you.
Stop screen sharing. And
thank you, Christian. Yeah. It's my part.
Yes, the most exciting part for me, as always.
Not yet. I really enjoy the way you talk about it, and I share the same mind with you as the astronomically nowadays it assigned to the Andromeda galaxy, but if you look in the sky and I think astrology and the mythology, it is kind of at least I think fair enough. You say related to both constellations, that's fine. But for me, yes, that's the square. And well, unless your horse don't have another part of a body, only have a horse head. But I think yes, I couldn't. I'm really surprised when you tell me you're going to talk about the Alpheratz, but you talk about a lot of the Pegasus. I was like, that's nice. Because I really think in one way you couldn't talk about Alpheratz without mention Pegasus, because I think that is the nature there. That is the nature there, because this is what I'm going to share with you. Today I use an example. Well, I pick up a writer. I think quite a lot of people know about him. Well, if you don't know about him, you know that his book become the movie called Hobby or Lord of the Rings. And it's both story about adventure, and both story are related to each other. And most people know about Lord of the Rings. It is a mythology story. It is a end of one epoch and the beginning of another time. And also, it's very interesting. Why are you talking about that freedom? I was like, because I was going to talk about things, I believe in the astrology and author's books, the character in his book or the things he writes will reflect to his chart.
Mm.
And also as about stars. And Tolkien, okay, let me have a very quick introduction about Tolkien. I think most people know. He was born in the 1892, and I think he is a professor of literature, and he was teach in the Oxford and then the other university. But he's a very famous about the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, and because his success about this trilogy, then people consider him as the father of the modern fantasy literature, which I agree because I think after him, there's a lot of like a fantasy or sci-fi writer, fantasy writer mostly, fantasy writer trying to, trying to create a different world, to create a different world, and then trying to kind of writing the fantasy not based on the earth or here in the world. Then when he was born in South Africa, so let's look at each other. One thing we have to remind you, if you are like me and Christian, we used to living in the North Hemisphere, we used to that upside down horse. Now you will see a horse is like this. Here is the Pegasus head, and he is a square. A little bit different, right? A
Yes.
little bit different. So it's really like a horse running on the ground. It's more cute. It's quite cute. He's the whole Pegasus, and here is Alpheratz. When he was born, Alpheratz is really, really kind of a I think it's a this. If I'm right, this should be rising. Yes, rising. This should be rising, rising. And another thing is quite interesting because, as I told you, here's Mirac, and when you coming up or coming down to Mirac, here is Andromeda Galaxy. If we can put the Andromeda Galaxy in the program, you will realize he also has an Andromeda Galaxy rising. That's what I'm trying to work out. But so he has Alpheratz, and then now we think about his story. In the beginning, before you talking about the freedom and the release, I was thinking what he has to do, what our J.R.R. Tolkien has to do with this Alpheratz and Pegasus energy. Apart from, well, in the part of the story, the kingdom of Lohan, they are the horse people. They use the horse as their totem symbol, and but interestingly, the king was charmed by a wizard, right? By his wizard, and then until the I think someone else is a Gandalf to broke that charm, that he finally awake. Then I was like, apart from that, is that things whole story related to this Alpheratz about the popularity or about intellect or about the speed. When you mention about kind of a release and freedom, then suddenly, yes, the whole story about the Lord of the Ring is that one ring control all the other, and they are going to break that link. They are going to set free for the other. And that was quite interesting. That when you talk, that's only until you're talking about freedom, and the set it free. I said, I can see the theme of his book.
Yeah, and when I remember correctly, in the movies, this dusty hall where the nearly dead and stone-like king sits.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie, he was such a vital man in
Yeah.
his ages. And with the horses, you're right. I didn't remember that. Interesting. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that was an important part. That
Yes.
was an important part of the story because he was the key. If his kingdom can help, then they change the whole situation. Yeah, that was very, very interesting. So this is the J.R. talking. I think a little pace will help our audience to remember what is this, how does these stars apply in the chart, and also in, or if you like us, we use the parent angle thing. Now I'm going to share with you, well, very quickly share with you the Chinese part. Um, this is very interesting. Because this is like what I tell you, tell Christian and everyone. Christian talking about in German. This is the Autumn Square. Autumn Square. Well, in the ancient Chinese astrology and astronomy, the four star of the Pegasus is also considered together, but also it's become considered as a square. Considered as a square. They call it the room, the chamber. So this is the square of the room and the chamber, and is part of a few stars has appeared in the very, very early record of the literature. The square of Pegasus has an important position in Chinese astrology. They've been called fixed, and what's that? Why fixed? Um, it is very interesting. Let me beginning from here. The one thing Chinese language for very difficult for all the other foreigner is the writing, and also the different writing sometimes can end up with a phononym. So there will be a two character, and but they share the same pronunciation. And then this star is one of them called Bishu. And then if you will, when you hear about that, some Chinese people were confused with Aldebaran. The area of Aldebaran is also another B. So there's a two Bishu in the Chinese the 28 mentioned. But one is this part belong to the Andromeda and the Pegasus. Another one is belong to the Taurus area. Then this one we call fixed. Then the word fixed has a lot of meaning. One is anchor, to fix position, to put you in the right position and you stay there. That's the one a meaning of a fix. Another fix means you repair, you repair. So I heard about the both meaning apply to these four stars. So this is the basic meaning of these four stars. They are fixed. They are fixed over time, which means when they appear in the sky, they tell the season. They tell the season, say, the autumn is here and the winter will be soon. Brace yourself. No, no, no. They start brace yourself. You're going to prepare. You're going to prepare for the winter. You're going to collect the food. You're going to make sure your house is warm enough and you have enough food. So, this is one meaning about the time the when four of big star, they call it when four of big star appear in the sky, then is winter is coming. The second meaning, because the star appear in the evening of the autumn time, this is after the farmer finish their agricultural activity. So they have more time to repair their house and preserve the food, but also their landlord, noble people, the prince or the king, the nobleman who own those land, will calling his subject, will calling his people, come to my castle, fix the wall, fix my chamber, fix my castle. That's their duty. That's their duty in the ancient time. So fix has another meaning. Is remind those I don't want to be rude. Those noble people use his slave to fix the castle and the chamber. So here we have the meaning. They are related, very interesting. These two stars, in one way, they are related to architecture, building, building the bridge, building the castle, fix the wall, fix the castle, building the chamber, building the room. That's the first meaning in the Chinese astrology. In the Chinese astrology, another the square, because it's a square, like a square room. So they become two parts. The two stars in the Pegasus, Macabre and the Skin, represent called chamber. They call chamber. And we call either waste chamber because they are more waste part, waste chamber. Then Alpheratz and Alpheratz, we call it wall. So that's B. B means wall. So we call it east wall, east wall. And then very interestingly, the east wall become by the different time become another meaning, because the in the ancient palace, in the ancient Chinese palace, the east wall belonged to the is kind of study room. The west wall is guest room. The east wall is become the library and the study room. Then become the meaning of a study. So in the Book of Jin, this is the history record, official history record in Chinese, astronomical record, book 1. The two stars of the east wall rule the literature. So for everyone who study writing, writing the book, reading the book, are related to this star. And also the treasure house of the world's book. And you can see how many books Christian has behind him. So yes, and in Chinese astronomy, the Alpheratz related to books, related to literature, related to study. Usually, the another meaning would be like the very studious people who love study, people who enjoy reading. So this is today about the Chinese astrology. Then I have 3 pictures going to share with you. Only one related to Andromeda. Well, it's Andromeda galaxy. And this is still my favorite Andromeda galaxy photo I made, because I think I kind of use a slightly different technique and make this a little bit more, a dim than other people. Most people, when they make this Andromeda galaxy, they want it very bright, so you can see a whole lot of things. But I think, I don't know why, I enjoy the feeling I look Andromeda galaxy from the eyepiece or something, and it's kind of dim. It's not that super bright. And so there is the beauty of the humble and not that bright. That's the beauty of mysterious. Maybe this is the words, mysterious beauty in this picture. I really love it. Another thing I want to share with you is a recent astronomical event. Since the mid of May, there is part of a sky in the near the North Pole area, celestial North Pole area, a galaxy called Messier 101 galaxy has a supernova. And they say, what's that? Well, you will see a new stars in the sky. Well, but unfortunately, this one is very small, so you have to use the telescope to look at. So here I compared 2 photos. On the right-hand side is the photo I took last year, March 2022. And you will see this is a beautiful spiral galaxy. And now I want you to focus on this arm. This arm. Here we have a very, very bright area, this one. Now let's look at the photo I took May last month. Now, if you look at this arm and the same area, now you will look two light dots here. And to be honest, I don't want to confuse you. I have to be honest with you. The bright one is the supernova. So it's the new one. The dim one is the one you can see here. You say, why? I spend more time. I spend more time. I probably spend 10 hours on this old photo. I spend 10 hours. And this photo, I only spend 3 hours. A photo for achieving a photo like this, you have to take maybe like 10 hours photo to stack them together. So this supernova is a very bright supernova, and is what a star was born, maybe, or star just died. It's more likely the astronomically when the star explore, we see it. Okay, so this is the star just
Really,
finish it.
thank you. Really, thank you for sharing this with us. This is so incredible, great photos you do. And as you said, 10 hours for editing this photo. We
Yeah.
just can enjoy it. Thank you for that. It's
You're
really
welcome. You're
awesome
welcome.
work.
Yeah. So this is the supernova, and how often you going to hear a supernova? Well, another one we are expecting. Have you heard about that? Betelgeuse.
Yeah.
And we really don't want. I really don't want. I want he stay there. I want he stay there. You please stay there. I don't want to start a supernova in Betelgeuse. No, because it would be stunning, but I don't like that feeling. I don't know why. I'm being stupid. Okay. But this is another one. So the Messier team, called Eagle Nebula. The area is around the Milky Way. It's a serpent, so next to Ophiuchus. It's different part of sky, but I just want to share with you because new work, and I really love it because I always love this nebula, and especially the inside of this nebula called the pile of creation. All these dust cloud area are forming the new stars. Are forming the new stars, and they call it pile of creation. And I really love it. Since I saw the NASA photo, I always say, I want one of that.
Awesome. Awesome. Really awesome. Wow.
And so I checked the telescope and then really spend a lot of time on it. And then
Yeah.
what's difficult is not taking photo. If you have time, you just sitting there, click it. What's difficult is editing, editing and put the color you like. And as most people know, Christian probably know that I'm not really good in art.
You always say this, but that's not true.
Okay, so I always don't know what is the right color to put. So when I finish this photo, I say I probably have to say I don't care about what other people think. This is one of my best works so far because I couldn't imagine I can achieve this color. I really don't know how I did it. It's just like, okay, just adjust it, just adjust a little bit, and I really don't know how it arrived this beautiful color. I really like this color. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is today I'm going to share with you. So thank everyone and thank Christian. I mean, today not only we share some nice photo, but we talk about Alpheratz, and now when next time you see the Pegasus square, there is a one star there in the astronomy belong to Andromeda galaxy, but some astrologers think they may belong to both. Okay, well, thanks everyone for watching the Let's Talk of Fixed Star. But before we go, next month, we will talk about another fixed star. I don't know if Christian still remember because I totally forget about it. Are you still remember what star we're going to talk about?
It's Deneb or Deneb Adigi. Different authors call it in different ways, but the EAU said we should call it Deneb.
Oh, yeah, you say we should call it Deneb tail only. Whose tail? Whose tail? Tail. Deneb
Yeah.
is the tail, right?
Yes,
So whose
Deneb is
tail?
the tail of the swan.
Yeah. But that's why I say if you just call it Deneb, you just call it tail. But whose tail?
Yeah, you of group of star names decided to call it Deneb.
Deneb, yeah, Deneb. Okay, thanks everyone. So next month we'll come back and we will talk about the Deneb Adish, the tail of the swan. And I'm definitely going to show you some nice photo because in that area, there is a whole lot of nebula. Beautiful, beautiful nebula in that area. It's amazing. It's one of a constellation for astrophotography. It's a treasure. It's a treasure room because there's so many beautiful nebula there. Okay, so we'll see you guys next month. Bye.
See you. Bye.